Thanks for checking out our videos online. I think you're going to really enjoy this series. If you would, please take a moment after watching the video and rate it or leave a comment. This will enable us to post many more lessons like this in this series. Thanks. Welcome to Blues for Piano and Keyboard. This is the first half of Chapter 8. You've made it all the way to Chapter 8. Congratulations. You must be very interested in learning to play the blues. Now, back in Chapter 6, I taught you a static riff. It sounded like this. Now, if that seems familiar to you, let's go on. If not, click the Blues Index link at the top of the page, go back, listen to Chapter 6, and get very familiar with that, because we're going to build on that today. Now, we called that a static riff in Chapter 6 because it never changed. That's what static means. Like on the radio, the static never changes, right? You only hear that if you fall asleep in front of the radio. You wake up at 2 in the morning, you hear the static. This static riff never changes. It's played by the right hand in the same spot while the left hand plays different chords. Okay, you can go back and review Chapter 6 to bone up on that. But today, I want to show you something about that static riff that I kept teasing you about in Chapter 6. Remember at the end of the blues, I kept playing these long phrases? And then I'd say that I was going to show you that in the next chapter, and I never did. But I did show you the comp chords in Chapter 7. Remember that? Hope you enjoyed that. That was good left-hand stuff. But today, we're going to dig back into that static riff and figure out how to extend it into a nice, long, bluesy phrase. Before we start, I just quickly want to address the question, how will this static riff apply to your music? You know, you actually may never play a song that uses this exact riff. However, the more you understand music, the more you know, the more creative you will be able to be. So take in every angle of music that you can. Learn to read. Learn music theory. Learn to play by ear. Play with groups. Play by yourself. Do some performing. Practice, practice, practice. There's a lot of angles. Once you can come at music from any angle, you'll be unlimited in what you can do. That's what I really hope to give to you through these courses. Now, let me blow your mind. The long extension of the static riff is really simple. In fact, you know most of it already if you've learned Chapter 6. It's actually the same static riff 2 times, high and low. Now, in between the high static riff and the low static riff, there's a tiny little riff that connects the two. I call it the connector. What a great name. This is what it sounds like. Okay, so here's the static riff with the connector. Then you play the static riff again an octave lower. Pretty simple, huh? Here it is. Now, let me describe it for you one more time, and then we'll look at a picture where you can actually see the static riff, the connector, and then the static riff lower again. But let me describe it for you once more. Here's the static riff up high. Here's the connector. And then the static riff again lower. Oh yeah, very nice. Now let me show you what it looks like.